Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Hold on. Put out the song. I'm just listening to some Spanish songs, but now I'm going to record this video for you. Look, I've spoken a lot about anticipation. Anticipation simply means you take actions to prepare yourself or a group of people for something that's about to come. Whether it is to prevent an outcome that's harmful, or whether it is to arm yourself, or to, let me say, to be in a state that you can endure what's coming. For example, let's say that you have the weather forecast saying that in the weekend it's going to snow very hard. So it's going to be a lot of snow in your region. What's happening now is that you anticipate by either buying a thick coat, or you have a thick coat already, and you know that when Friday arrives and you sense that the temperature is going down, you know that tomorrow there will be snow, so you put extra socks on, or you don't get what I'm saying, you anticipate. You cannot prevent the snow from falling. It will fall, one way or the other, but you anticipated it, so now that it happens, you're not affected that much by it, and it doesn't harm you. Because if you would not put on a thick coat or warm clothes and you will go outside as if it's summer, well, that's a practical thing to do, and some do it, but it will affect your health very badly, and some people even die because of it. So anticipation is quite important. A lot of us anticipate socially. We dress in a certain way when we go to a job interview to anticipate the reactions of the employer or the one interviewing you, to increase your chance of getting a job. People do that. Or you say hi, hello, when you enter a place, just so that people feel welcome, because that also helps generating a welcoming atmosphere where people are comfortable. Or if someone is the boss, you say good morning, you're more formal. Why are you formal? Why can't you say hi? Well, people tend to want validation. Well, let me say this. People in general are obsessed with validation. They want to be acknowledged. So if he's the boss, you tend to give him a special acknowledgement. Why? So that he will treat you well, so that you can't lose your job. So there's also a form of anticipation. This whole thing of politeness has all to do with anticipating people's emotional reactions. Because some people, when they don't feel acknowledged, they lose it. They are triggered emotionally, and they're just like a little baby screaming and crying. But look at this, they're not a little baby anymore. They're grown adults, or they're teenagers, and when they are triggered, they're not in a baby body anymore. So when they are triggered emotionally, people get hurt, bad stuff happens, and we don't want that. So in every culture, you have language constructs of how to address certain people. In French, you have tu and vous. Both mean you. One, you do it to people that are older than you, or people that have a higher position. The other you do with people that are close to you. Why is that? To give people a sense of control. So in English language, you have thou and you. Thou is not used anymore, just you in English. In Dutch, you have jij and jou. No, jij and u. Sorry, jou is a congregation of jij, but jij and u. So every language has their constructions. For example, in Japanese, you tend to speak in a different manner. You say the same thing, but just use different grammar constructs just because someone is important. Human beings are obsessed with being validated. I'm just saying it as it is. So socially you anticipate because you don't want to get into a situation where someone freaks out and now you're dealing with their will. So that's why you're polite. That's why you also associate with people that are liked by the community, so that you don't get into a negative category. But I want to continue on that social anticipation. Social anticipation is a practical thing, but it can also keep you trapped. You know why? Because, okay, let me give an illustration. Let's say you have a community, and just give an example. You have a community, and you have this, let's say it's a neighborhood, you have 46 families living there, means mother, father, children, and you also have some singles living around. So it's a community in a part of a town, a part of a city, I mean. But you have this one family over there. We have this man who's often angry, he's quite bitter, and when he doesn't have his way, he becomes very difficult. And he works as uh, as a head of a high school. So everyone knows you need to look out for that guy. Because that guy, if he doesn't get his way, oh, something bad happens. So everyone kind of gets along with it. So collectively, the community agreed that this man has the right to will whatever he wants, because, well, nobody wants to upset him. Then one day, you are a pupil at that high school. Some other pupils try to try to hit you, and you resist physically. And now that man who's head of school kind of does have his day, and he becomes upset with you. Now he doesn't want to see what the other pupils trying to do to you. He's only looking at your fault, looking at what you have done, and he's blaming you for everything, even though you just defended yourself. The other pupils admitted they've done wrong, and they went on, but that head of that high school is kind of upset. And now people are telling you, just calm down, get along with it, or else, but you think, hold on a minute. He's a grown man. He shouldn't project his issues onto me. And now I need to look out for his will. No. Because this is what happens. When you give in to that will of his that doesn't add up, he feels acknowledged, and it works. And because it works, he will continue to do it. And that's how the curse is going. That's how you're being drawn into a curse. Let me tell you, when I was growing up, I'm not going to boast about myself and all that. Listen, when I was growing up, I avoided violence. People often said you need to fight back, you need to hit those bullies. And I said, oh, hold on a minute. Violence can kill people. I understand too that since I was a kid. So now you're telling me I need to put myself in danger just to prove myself so that people will respect me? I don't think so. And there were adults around that, I don't know what's going on in their heads. They some kind of way thought that younger people had to validate them in some kind of way. And they thought by just looking annoyed, people need to give them reference. And I was thinking, I'm going to do that. That is how child molestation begins. When grown-ups receive some privileges that don't add up, and the community allows it to continue. And when bad stuff happens, the community will avoid it often because it will trouble the status quo. So such things happen. I didn't understand all of this when I was a kid, but I knew, hold on a minute, this doesn't add up that someone that's far bigger than me has a will, that he's upset, now I'm the one who have to carry it. No. So that is what I wanted to point out. Social anticipation is a practical thing, but it can also keep you trapped. Now there are times you just endure things just because you want to get along with people. So that's also important, to know when to be quiet and to endure. But even when you endure, just to get along, you still acknowledge this ain't right. And then when you realize that it isn't right, you anticipate for the future so that it will stop. But what happens in society? People collectively agree with certain expectations that they don't examine, and anyone that questions, I'm not saying they go off at society, but they just question why such people are punished. They're afflicted and sometimes even receive violence of society. I've encountered that. There were many things that I saw around me while growing up, even in my teenage years, that I began to question why, because I saw things contradicted itself. But people, when you point out to them that something doesn't add up, they tend to look at you as if they saw a ghost, and then they either lose it or they shut down, and now you're the one being blamed for causing trouble. After a while, I got tired of that, and I decided, hold on a minute. If people do not want to see the obvious, I'm not going to force them to see it. Why? Because when worldly people can't escape, they escalate. So, why am I talking about social anticipation? It is because when it comes to the social, people anticipate often. And obviously, you don't want to be the target of rage, the target of bad opinions, and all of that. Why don't you anticipate spiritually? That's what I'm asking you. Why aren't you anticipating spiritually? Because understand this. The people that run this world, those pagans who worship the devil, they anticipate. And I'm not saying they're wise. They make a lot of foolish and very sometimes impractical decisions. But overall, in general, they're practical. They anticipate. Let me give an example then. If you have a community where the children are fed this information about foreigners, and what are you getting? You're getting a generation of adults that are xenophobic. And when this happens, now you, as people that run the country behind the scenes, can come with news stories in the media that put foreigners in a bad daylight. So what's going to happen? You already have a generation of adults that are used to being xenophobic, but they don't realize it. So when you put foreigners in a bad daylight, you are provoking what was already in them. And by doing this, you are distracting them. And that's how you can lead a whole population politically into a direction they wouldn't have gone into by their own volition. They anticipate. But here's the thing. When it comes to believers in general, they don't anticipate. I'm not saying all believers, all believers anticipate. But often believers do not anticipate spiritually. And that is what is quite frightening. Because the devil worshippers that run this world, they anticipate. That's why their agendas succeed. For example, if you look at the hip-hop subculture, 15 till 10 years ago, and you look at it today, I mean, the hip-hop genre has changed a lot from the 1970s and 80s when it began until now. There's a worldly movement, okay? But I'm using a worldly movement to explain unto you how a worldly movement has changed over time and how now that movement has become homosexualized. I remember, I'm just 26, but I remember a time when people that love to listen to hip-hop, they didn't want anything to do with effeminate men. Now, in the hip-hop scene, it's like you only have effeminate men becoming artists now. And now, a lot of those guys that used to be against effeminate men were all into that manly hip-hop. Now they're wearing skinny jeans. Some of them even consider wearing makeup now. And I would think, what? In just 10 years' time? How is this possible? It is because those devil worshippers that rule this world, they anticipate. They know how people operate, they know what makes people tick, and they know how to distract people so they can slide in their agenda. So I'm asking you, believer, why aren't you anticipating supernaturally? Paranormally, the rulers of this world are anticipating. That's why not all of their plans, but many of their plans succeed. Even though their plans are short-lived, they still succeed. Now you have the Holy Spirit. So what you do in the Spirit can last. It can last until Christ returns. So why aren't you anticipating supernaturally? But here's the thing, a lot of believers, they're still holding on to the comfort zone. They still have this worldly thinking of wanting to be relieved. And you need to give us up, believer. Because this thinking of wanting to be relieved, that's what world people have, that is what keeps them in darkness. So, it's just a question to you. Why aren't you anticipating supernaturally? That's it for now. Agree with Christ and be at peace.